this is Spot. We're here to begin another installment of How Along with Spot. And we want to introduce a project we've been working on for a while. It involves the card game Magic the Gathering. People might be familiar with that or might not. It's a strategy game that is unique in that the rules change, and there's zones of plays that are permanent, and there's protocols governing the sequence of play and the timing of play, but the rules themselves change with each new card, and cards come out periodically throughout the year. And there's a tradition amongst Magic, and it's actually encouraged by the company that produces Magic the Gathering, of people making custom cards on their own. And there's also a tradition of having joke expansions. And back in 2017, around the time that Trump and North Korea were going back and forth about who had the biggest button, that we began with Magic the Gathering, the unfringed edition. And we introduced the concept of the infamous creatures, and the infamous creatures are governed by an infamous creature rule that only one unique infamous creature may be in play at the same time. So if a second copy, like we have Dotar Chieftain here, if a Dotar Chieftain's in play and another player plays one, they flip a coin, and if it's heads, the player wearing the most buttons on their apparel reshuffles the infamous creature back into their library. And if it's tails, it's the other way around. The Dotar Chieftain, there he goes. Dotar Chieftain will not attack or block. Whenever Dotar Chieftain comes into play, you tap all the lands, which in Magic is the source of energy, and all players skip their next untapped plays, which means basically interferes with everyone's plans the next few moves. And whenever Dotar Chieftain is targeted by a spell or ability, he's removed from the game and returned to play at the end of the turn, again trading all the lands, tapping, and so forth. Now, at the beginning of your upkeep, you sacrifice a land, and if another player has more lands than you, the player gains control of Dotar Chieftain. And of course, they probably don't want that, so that's the way that card's supposed to work there. And of course, we have the next infamous creature is Rocket Man. And Rocket Man has the interesting ability that when he comes into play, he puts a +1/-1 counter on Dotar Chieftain if Dotar Chieftain is in play. So he's able to do that without targeting him. We also have Bernie the Red. And Bernie the Red, you can sacrifice him to find another card called Pilloried Hillary. And the thing about Pilloried Hillary is that if Dotar Chieftain is in play, she's indestructible. And if a player who controls Dotar Chieftain attacks or casts a spell that targets a player who controls Pilloried Hillary, all the damage is redirected to her. And she also has the ability to flip Dotar Chieftain a bird, which does him no damage but does target him. We have now this is a different kind of creature card. It's a porn star, and the example here is Stormy Comfort. And I introduced the Regurgitate Lands rule, which is a characteristic of the porn star creatures, and of course this allows you to avoid gaining control of Dotar Chieftain, because what it does is when you play the lands, you remove the lands that you remove all the lands that tap to pay its mana cost back into your hand. You return them back into your hand, In the next main phase, you may return one or more of these cards into play, untap, and return the rest to your hand. So it allows you to adjust control of the land so you never have the amount of lands necessary, the fewest lands necessary to whatever to gain Dotar Chieftain. Then we have the Great White Russian Hope, who puts in Dotar lackey tokens, and Comrade Emperor, who has the ability to tweak the mana curve by changing cards when he comes in. Our next expansion was the year after that was the fringed expansion. And this just 3 cards from it. Enter the Beast, which is a tribal sorcery, a despot sorcery, that removes all graveyards from the game. Then all players must mill their libraries into their graveyards, and all players return all cards from their hands into their library in any order. So this kind of rushes an end to the game. Nuclear Summit, and tribal sorcery, Dotard. When you cast Nuclear Summit, choose an opponent. Both players exchange hands, then both suggest values for X until they come to an agreement. Then each returns each other's hands, and both players discard, then draw X cards and discard X cards, and all players lose X lives. So the only ones who benefit from Nuclear Summits are those people actually in attendance. We then have another type of creature introduced in it, and it's the rainbow creature, which has a mechanic that's very similar to the sunburst mechanic, in that the amount you're rewarded by using as many different colors to pay the mana cost as you can. So if you use 3, this is a Mockingjay that has cost 3 mana. If you use 3 different colors, you get 3 diversity counters, and you have different abilities based on pulling off the diversity counters. Another creature we have is the despot creature, such as the Puppet Despot Gone Rogue, Opportunist Toad, the Servant of Mammut, Ultimate Rocket Man, and that would be examples there. And finally, our latest expansion from just this year, we have the Escape from the Trumpverse. And is introducing the Curvinae, I think it's pronounced, but it's the deer family of creatures. And my entry into this is Mickey Anonymous. And when he comes into play, you pick a card at random from an opponent's hand, reveal it to another opponent before returning it to its owner's hand. So and this is the idea of the Anonymous family's powers, is that they leak information to their own advantage. Presidential Tweet, it's a counter spell. Counters target spell unless its owner pays X. And what X is when Presidential Tweet resolves, you place 2 plus X cards from the top of your library into your graveyard. And we have a Mega Hat, which is a faux sorcery. And yes, I did misspell redacted, but such mistakes do happen. We also have, come on, back up. There he goes. The only other picture we've done is there we go. And that's Gaiden, the purple notorious rare creature, and this is the first notorious rare creature from Escape from the Trumpverse, and the third and final expansion of our satirical block based on the MTG game. Gaiden is a one power, 2 toughness creature for a blue, red, and neutral mana. You can sacrifice a common creature and add either blue or red mana to your mana pool. And as long as Dotar Chieftain is in play, Gaiden is indestructible. Now, all these cards are available on our, not all these cards, but eventually all of them will be available. All the first expansion, and soon whole second expansion will be available on DeviantArt. You just download them, cut them up, and use a glue stick to glue them onto a magic card, and like a land or common you don't particularly like, and they'll last as long as a foil card will that way, or you can put them in sleeves and they'll last longer. We hope to be doing more about that third expansion, possibly even having an online draft tournament at some point in the year. Thank you very much, and remember, subscribe if you like if you like, and have a good day.